I've said it many times before and I'll say it again. If I were to actually tell you what my life looked like for the last 6 months to a year, you just wouldn't believe me. I'm really bad at chronicling it because it's been so insane and such a roller coaster to the point where it feels like had I sat down and I written it as a movie script and I tried to put it in front of someone, that actually brings movie scripts to life, they would have looked at it and been like, this is ridiculous. There are way too many plot twists. Like, you're being way too dramatic. There are too many points and turns in the story that it's like too hard to follow. I'm like, yeah, that's my life. Like, this isn't some fiction. This is our reality. So today's episode, I feel like, is an important one to do. I hesitate to do them sometimes because I know I want to bring value. So I figured out how can I pull back the curtain on the pursuit of our big next as a family, for me personally, and give that tangible glimpse into what I mean when I say your big next, because we're living it. Like, I'm living it. My family's living it. This isn't just some conceptual idea of like, you've got to go pursue your big next. This is like real time, raw footage of what it looks like when I say those words and what it really means. Because I think the world kind of glorifies going for your next big thing or 10xing or this or that, incremental to I almost said excremental. That's not what I meant. Incremental to exponential. That's dangerous. They really should have thought of a different way of phrasing that. Because it paints a picture like it's like, okay, I've finally decided and everything's going to be upwards and smooth sailing from here. And I'm like, no, actually, once you've committed to what God has placed on your heart, prepare for battle. And that's what the last year has been for us. So I want to share the truth. I want to give examples that are real life. I want to paint a picture. I want to give you the wisdom that I've gleaned from the last year that has been priceless to me, that I could have never created or paid for. Like, I had to live it. And I want to pass it along because it's been of great value to me. And I want it to be of great value to you. And I want to give you encouragement as you're stepping into that God-led calling for you of what comes with it and how you can rise to those, not just rise to the challenge, but become the person you're called to be, to not only handle it, but handle it with a level of grace and integrity and possibility that allows for it to be one of the most beautiful, fruitful seasons of your life, even in the challenge. And by the end of this episode, if you stay with me, I will be sharing one of the biggest announcements I will make this year that I still can't believe I'm making, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's jump in. Just a little over a year ago, we lost our sweet baby boy, Michael Gabriel, at 17 weeks pregnant. Unexpectedly, I had just seen his perfect little heartbeat, or heard his little heartbeat, just a couple weeks prior. We still don't know why, so kind of left with open loops that leave you with some just open wounds, It's really hard. Subsequently, if you've been with us, you know this, but if you haven't, the very brief version of a crazy winding story is that soon after I gave birth to our son and we lost him, I immediately started hemorrhaging and nearly lost my life. I should have lost my life. There were many miracles that happened in that hospital that day. I'm grateful for that. And I reflect on that a lot. And it has changed me in many, many ways. It has changed my direction and my trajectory in many ways. It's changed how I see the world. I lost upwards of 60% of my blood volume, which is catastrophic. It usually is around 40%. So anyway, after a life-saving surgery and a massive blood transfusion, ultimately in that moment, having more of other people's blood than my own in my body, which is not exactly a comforting thought, I was able to awake to the fact that I was still here and I still had a calling on my heart. And I still had work to do. And there was still a lot of healing and understanding and things to figure out as I went. So I want today to just be about really letting you behind the curtain. Like the stuff that I don't think to share with you guys because I feel like maybe you wouldn't believe me, or maybe you've got your own stuff and you don't need to carry the weight of anyone else's. But I'm not going to share it in a heavy way because there have been so many blessings in all these twists and turns and this wild roller coaster ride that I feel like there's been so much value and wisdom and gifts and grace and mercy throughout all of it that I want to pass it along to you as you pursue your big next. In fact, because I walked through that, I have clarity of around where I am called to go in this season. And I want that for you too, without the crazy twists and turns. So soon after that, actually before that, we had put what we thought was our dream home, just 6 years prior when we bought it, our dream farm property, beautiful home overlooking the rolling hills in Wisconsin. We put it up for sale because we knew in our heart of hearts, when we got crystal clear on how we were called to live our lives and what we knew it was meant to look like. In that season, admittedly, when we found that home, we were intoxicated by its beauty. We were intoxicated by the lifestyle we were going to build based on what we were visually seeing with that home. The giant workshop where Michael was going to create his timber frame business, and the podcast studio down at the barn, and the 11 acres of rolling hills and pastures where our kids were going to play, and the wraparound deck that looked out over all of it, and the home that we were going to open to all of our clients, which we did for 6 years, and it was wonderful. But at the core of that, we weren't really getting real with what are our true values, right? Like, what is our true north as a family? What are our non-negotiables that no matter the environment we're in, or the financial situation we're in, good or bad, or the career path we're on, any of that, we are staying true to who we are at a DNA level. And we knew at a core level that we were meant to do life in the village, like life, not just visits or moments with family, but like do day-to-day life with family and family extended. That's how I grew up. Culturally, that's how I grew up. Big Italian Arabic family. It wasn't just this little family unit. It was the whole multi-generational family. And we were really isolated in Wisconsin. We lived hours from Michael's family, and we just knew it was time. Plus, with my father's health declining, like, I knew this was a move that as a daughter that I was called to make, but also just for the benefit of our family too. So we had just listed our home. As we went through this major loss and were grieving, I was bedridden for at least a month. And in the beginning, I couldn't even walk my butt to the bathroom. Like, it was humbling beyond measure. I had no strength, could hardly roll over in bed. I mean, I just lost most of my blood volume. It was an ugly time. And we're trying to sell our home. So we sell the house and then don't have a home yet out here in New Hampshire. So we had to start frantically searching, which, if you know the market in New England, it's like you blink and that house is gone. So we were out in Wisconsin. I was limited. I couldn't physically fly anywhere. I couldn't even get into the car and go anywhere. And we're trying to find these homes. Michael is flying out here when he can to see houses so that we're not buying something sight unseen, but I was not going to see this home. So we ultimately had to walk through this just chaotic period of trust. And it was such a beautiful opportunity because we claim we have faith, right? Like, we claim that God has us in the palm of his hand, that he has gone before us, that he knows the exact path, that his plan is greater than our plan, that he has, he wants us to prosper and live an abundant life. And yet we're sitting over here in scarcity saying, like, oh my gosh, what if we don't find a home? What if this? What if that? So we really had to, and in my weakness, I was blessed with the opportunity of, like, I can't hold anything else. Like, I have to release this because I physically, emotionally, spiritually do not have the strength or fortitude to try and do this on my own. And it was a really unique opportunity because I'm a very, like, grit through it, strong arm it type of person. And that's how I've lived, but I couldn't do it anymore. Like, I had hit my wall, my rock bottom, and I had to hand it over. And I had all these plans that I had to just open my palms and say, here they are, do with them what you will, bless them how you may. And it was one of the greatest gifts alongside one of the greatest moments of suffering that I've ever experienced. So my husband flies out here to New Hampshire. He finds a house through a series of crazy events. We put in an offer on the house. They accept our offer. He flies out here for the inspection, which was really going to be our only out if it wasn't meant to be. And he buys our family a home without me ever seeing it. So that's a trust fall, people. That's a trust fall. We pack up our family of 4, our dog, and move cross country. We're halfway through that move, literally in Ohio at 9:30 at night in a not good area. Our new car, because, oh, did I forget to mention? In the midst of all of this, our car gets completely totaled. Our family Suburban gets completely totaled, taken out of the mix. Thank God everyone was okay, but this thing was absolutely wrecked. So we're like frantically trying to buy a new car before this move because we need it literally to get us across country. We buy this car halfway through the drive, our 20+ hour drive, our car packed with our 4 kids in car seats, our dog, and our valuables, because I'm like, I don't want to put our best, most sacred stuff. It's not like we have like super fancy things, but the things that matter most to us, we want to keep close to us. I'm like, I'm not putting it in a moving truck and not seeing it for 2 weeks and trusting that it makes it there. So I'm like, we'll pack the Suburban with it. Well, we break down in the middle of a bad area of Ohio at night, smack between Wisconsin and New Hampshire. Car completely dead, transmission just gone, brand new car. It was this like really cool experience in that didn't hold a candle to what we had just walked through. And I talk about this all the time from a leadership perspective of like, you're being called into something greater and you're sitting here drowning, right? Like you're sitting here drowning in an inbox that you can't keep up with, and emails just keep coming, and team that keeps letting you down, profitability that's not where you want it to be, and a plateau that you can't figure out how to break through. And you're like, I can't think about greater and beyond this moment. I am drowning in the right now. And then God says, watch what happens when you trust me. Watch what happens. Watch what I do with you when you have the courage to walk through the difficult moments, who you become on the other side of it. And we had just walked through this nightmare. And then we have this moment where we're like broken down, no plan, no one around, getting later, AAA's 4 hours out. So like they weren't going to roll in till almost 1 a.m. And we're like, it makes for a good story, I guess. Like you don't get shaken by the little stuff when you walk through the big stuff. And we just had a different perspective. So our capacity as human beings, as leaders of our family in moments of trouble had just expanded. So we figured all that out. We literally abandoned our car in Ohio. We pack up this conversion van that Michael has to drive at 3 a.m. to go find because it's the only van that'll fit all our stuff and our dog. And we're going to just drive it to New Hampshire. He pulls up in the conversion van, 5 a.m. We all pile in, we start driving, and that check engine light comes on in the thing. And we're like, we're just braving it. Let's go. So it was just this season of chaos and this season of like, just take the next step. You don't have the luxury right now of thinking 10 steps ahead, 20 steps ahead, a year ahead. You just take the next step. There were just so many learnings in that. At the same time that was happening, we were moving our family. Like that's a big deal. There's heartache. Michael's leaving his home state. We're entering into my home state. We've got to get us unpacked in this new home. We have projects we want to do, painting we want to do. It's just like all the things, but all that's so menial. It's just like a lot of stuff, but it's fine. We are entering into this new season in our lives where we just have this clarity and this perspective after having gone through what we went through of like who we are now and what God's really calling us to do through the vehicle of our company, Luminary Leadership Company. And we're not playing small anymore. And you may have heard me tell just the story of when I came to after that surgery in the subsequent days in the hospital, saying to my husband, like, I'm not spending another moment of my time or my life doing anything, especially in my work, that is not what God has put me here to do. Like that is not aligned with his calling for me, which meant a lot of stripping away. So at that same time, we just made this big investment on this home and then a car, like, all the things we didn't see coming. And we made the really hard decision in that season of there were a lot of offers that have been serving a lot of people for many years that we were like, we're stripping them away. One of them we had already sold. We had pre-sold before the incident that I refunded everybody. Like we had 6+ figures of revenue coming in through that particular offer that we just refunded. And it was like, this isn't where we're going anymore. But what became really clear was I knew in that moment that God was cultivating the calling in me. And then I made that commitment that I am not just here to help people grow their businesses. I know that's great work and I love it and I can do it in my sleep and I'm passionate about it and I'm really great at it. But where I shine and where I can serve them the most, where I can serve them not just in that moment, not just in an ROI perspective of the bottom line. I can serve them in in who they're called to be, which is a ripple effect then into their marriage, into their family, which is then generational impact that we're making, right? It's taking them up out of the busyness and into their life's work, what they have been placed on this earth to do with great clarity and more than anything, a peace in their heart, which we are, many of us as entrepreneurs, completely robbed of as we go. We're doing it for freedom. We're doing it for our families, and it's coming at the complete expense of those things. And I know that if I can unlock the leader, right? If I can scale the visionary or the founder, the byproduct of that is business growth that they could have never even planned for. I've seen it. It's in black and white. We track the data. It works. So that was a big shift. But we did have to go through a pruning season just morally, like out of integrity of like, this stuff is going away. And that's scary, right? You just make this investment, you move, you've got team to pay, you've got all these things, you know, you have massive medical bills. And we're like, but this is the right thing to do because this is where we're going. And we're not playing small anymore. We're not playing safe anymore. God's going to open the doors because we're having the courage to say yes to what he's calling us to do. And in doing that, of course, that's exactly what happened. Not because we planned for it, not because we manufactured it, not because we strategized it on a whiteboard like I normally do, but because we had the courage to go where we were being guided. It was such an incredible path that we were walking. Now, I don't want to give the illusion that once we got clear on our big next and we started walking towards it, everything just fell into place like perfectly. Yes, doors started opening really quickly. We started really magnetizing the right opportunities and the right people, but it didn't mean it was easy. Like it meant that it was light on my heart, but it was hard. Okay. It was really hard. And at the same time, I had a lot of clarity around the story that I was here to tell. So I started writing the book. So as we're doing all this, I'm also sitting down every morning at 4 a.m. and getting up and I'm writing the book. That was a big piece of this whole process, was the writing, because in the writing, not only was I able to capture the innermost corners that I can't even get to here on this episode, but I was also able to extract the how, like how I did it, the frameworks that I was using to progress and expand my capacity, the changes I was making within my business that were allowing us to prosper in ways we never had before, despite our successes in the past. And I was able to say, wow, this is really like a measurable journey that I can gift to other people. So there's just a really cool moment in time. And when I say cool can encompass a lot of things. It can encompass great challenge and inspiration and suffering and pain and beauty and blessings and heartache and tears. And that's pretty much what it looked like for us. So I want to fast forward a little bit to closer to now and really share the behind the scenes of what's been going on lately and the life updates that I want to share with you. The first I want to share is our homeschooling journey. So years ago, we felt that nudge to pull our kids, start homeschooling. Michael and I had never been homeschooled. To us, homeschoolers, there were like 2 in our town. They were always like the weird Christian kids that had like their 12 siblings and couldn't socialize if their life depended on it. And like, that was my perception. And they were like so sheltered. They weren't allowed to do anything and they weren't ever in sports or anything. And it was just like so foreign to me. That's not true anymore. And we had so much unlearning and relearning to do. There was this like moment in time when we were first trying to implement it that we were trying to like basically replicate school at home instead of taking advantage of what homeschooling really is, which is a whole separate conversation that I won't bore people who aren't interested in that with in this episode. But what I can say is it's been so freeing. Since we came to New Hampshire, we've really adopted a different mentality of like, who are we? Like, what are we here to do with our family? What wisdom do we want to impart? What values matter to us? What do we want them to walk through life with? What do we feel like is equipping them? What's going to make them come alive and deepen their faith and determine and step boldly and courageously into their big next? So we've been really able to let them like guide us in that process of where are our kids flourishing? Our son Jack is brilliant. He's like science, math, like the way his brain works, he's so much smarter than me and I cannot keep up with him. He just turned 10. If he were in traditional school, like he would be the kid that keeps getting in trouble because they try to label him with something like ADD. He would probably be labeled with some kind of IEP because he didn't learn the way the other kids learned. But because we've had him in the environment we have him in, and we can just let him tell us, like, how do you learn? Like, what clicks for you? Or are you visual? Or do you need more audio to like learn things? And we've been able to, he's an experiential learner, just like my husband and like me. So like the dude's out in the workshop using saws and building all these different things. And through that work, he's learning math, he's learning reading, like he's doing all the things that make him come alive. And he's incredibly gifted and skilled at what he does. And I just love that. And my daughter, Marie, I've seen a determination in her because we've just given her the space to figure it out without this pressure of like curriculum or checking boxes or where are they in the grand scheme of things compared to other kids. And like, we're just not playing that game anymore. And it's been so freeing. And I learned to crochet from my grandmother and my great aunt when I was a kid, but man, if you don't use it, you lose it. I was watching YouTube videos in slow motion, trying to figure out, like literally watching close up of them doing every loop. And I'm like, why isn't this computing in my brain? I can't figure this out, so that I could teach her. And I'm like, Marie, I just can't seem to figure this out. And she would sit there for hours on the couch looking like she was about to fall asleep or cry because she was like, wouldn't give up. She wouldn't quit. She's like, I have to figure this out. And she kept messing it up and knotting it up until one day it just clicked. And then the girl comes downstairs and she made me a rainbow scarf, like this beautiful scarf of all different colors she wove in. Then she comes down and she's made like this cute little, like a little animal out of crocheting. And now she makes all these different little stuffed animals and purses and all, totally self-taught. We noticed that she had a bent towards music, that each of our kids like were really gravitating towards music. I'm a big music person. We always have music playing in the house. And I've never, like, I'm sorry, all you parents who have listened to whatever it's called, Baby Shark on repeat, like, God bless you, but that's a hard no for me. Like, I'm not listening to Raffi. Like, we've got the Beatles playing. We've got Bruce Springsteen playing. They're listening to the Beach Boys. They're listening to classical. They're listening to, like, the best of the best in rock and roll and Frank Sinatra. And so they've just got this passion for music. So we bought a keyboard. All the kids just self-taught themselves how to play the piano. And we're just getting to see like where their energy goes and their gifts. And Marie got a sewing machine and now she's sewing things. And like when I have a hole in something and she's like, oh, I'll fix it for you, Mom. And it's just been so fun. So we've really shifted and taken pressure off ourselves for homeschooling and we're just enjoying it. We've also, in this last year's time, hosted one of the big things, like when we bought our beautiful home in Wisconsin, a big driver for it was because I could see us hosting our mastermind events that I've been running for a dozen years in that home, overlooking the hills. I want our home to be a refuge for people. Like, I want it to be a safe haven for people to get inspired and break bread together and deepen their roots and know who they are and cultivate that calling. And we did that in Wisconsin. I was afraid when we were moving. I'm like, man, we're never going to find that again. And we found it. And God found it and gifted it to us. We live on this beautiful orchard, rolling hills everywhere. Like, it's just beautiful. We moved in and we've since hosted 3 events for our mastermind, which are like the most epic events. And so we're doing that. I don't know. It's just been kind of like a symbol of overcoming challenges and staying anchored in our mission and really using whatever home we're blessed to have as that safe haven for people to become who God calls them to be. And I think some of the big paradigm shifts that I was blessed with in this process and in these struggles was, first of all, like what we do at Luminary and what we do in our, especially in our really intimate programs, like our Visionary CEO Mastermind. We have clients that have quadrupled or more their revenue. Like, the bottom line moves, right? But it's because they've like finally broken through their ceiling. They've broken through their success plateau. Like, these are established entrepreneurs. We meet them where they feel stuck, where when we ask them what's next for them, they say, I don't know, but I know it's something greater than this. And then we help them and we become that, just a bridge, just like a guide from where they are to where they're called to be. But what we realize is that busyness is the broken bridge that they keep trying to utilize to get from where they are to where they want to be. Can I do more? Can I do it faster? Can I be more productive? So we're able to really help them detox that and identify in a very strategic way, using frameworks and playbooks that we've built that work, how to rebuild that bridge without the busyness so that as they pursue what they're called to do, and as they increase their profit, and as their team flourishes, and as their clients experience the transformations they're there to bring into the world. They have more peace. They have more prosperity in every corner of their life. They are more connected in their marriage. They are deeper in their faith, and they are making their legacy impact in their families. And it's been such a blessing and a gift. And that came from me being humbled enough, like taken to my knees, humbled, not being humble enough. Like I chose to be humble, like humbled, like I got taken down 2x4 right to the forehead and spent a month in bed after that surgery and after that loss where I couldn't do anything, where there was no more busyness, and it all came into focus. I could see in HD for the very first time, as much as I didn't want it to come from that. I challenge you in this moment of your life, like in your behind the scenes, of examining where busyness, where you think it's what's getting you there, how is it actually holding you back? Like, where are you putting your energy and focus that is not a part of your big next? Finding and identifying the cracks in your own bridge and how you're going to rebuild. Are you going to do it on your own? Are you going to do it alongside team? Are you going to come alongside us in the Visionary CEO Mastermind? Like, where are you going to bring in a mentor? Like, what does it look like for you? Some really cool announcements that I'm excited to share, or like some updates, life updates. In all of this, we get out here, we get established. We were in negotiations with our biggest business opportunity and partnership that only came, I swear to you, it only came because I embraced who God was calling me to be. It was something that I had been trying to make happen forever. But even that, like I was trying to make it happen at level, 2. And God had a level 10 for me, and he opened doors that I didn't even think were possible. Like I couldn't have even dreamt up this partnership, and I'll do an entire episode on this one someday. It's like too much to even speak to today. Like it's just so crazy. But the negotiations and the stress and for the first time in my life, really understanding the value I bring to the table and the impact that I'm here to make. I had so many blocks in my worthiness and what I was worth. And I was so blessed to have the right mentors, like just flanking me and carrying me through this season and challenging me. And as a result, we ended up creating this opportunity that was so much more powerful for me, for our company, for our team, for our family, and the work that we can do with this organization than I ever could have done had I not had people reflecting back to me who I am, what I'm here to do, the transformations that I create, and the impact that I'm here to make. But I can tell you, so often we pray for these opportunities, right? Like we pray, we'll get picked up by the big publisher, or we'll get the biggest stage, or we'll finally get this client, or we'll get this opportunity. But we are not considering, I get all fired up talking about this. We are not considering who you actually have to be to live fully into that, to the point where it is fruitful, where it transforms lives in the best way, and where it doesn't take you out. And I was given this moment of grace where I created this contract and we negotiated, and I had not yet caught up to the level that I was just stepping into. And for the next 5 days, I thought I was suffocating. It was the worst feeling in the world. I'm like, what have I done? I'm not prepared for this. I can't do this. And then they came back to the table and said, we want to renegotiate in a slightly different way. I had to get really real with myself and say, wait, who am I? Who do I need to be? What am I looking to do here? What do I need to do to make that happen? And I had to go inward and stop saying, what do I need to do? And I said, who do I need to be? And I shifted every last cell in my body to completely see this through a different lens of who I need to become and the leader God was calling me to be and the faith that I had to have. I could have lost it all. If I stepped into this without having done that work, it all would have fallen out right from under me, even though I prayed for this opportunity. Thankfully, I got this brief window to catch my breath and say, hold up, I need to come back to the table as who I need to be to carry this forward. Stop praying for the things you think you want because they're going to make you the money, they're going to give you the status, they're going to give you the visibility, if you are not willing to step into who God is calling you to be in order to live that out. That was a wake-up call for me. And because I did that secondary work that should have been primary work, we were able to close the most powerful opportunity of my career and proceed with it. So with all that other stuff swirling, we were also negotiating and finalizing one of the biggest business deals of my life, all behind the scenes because we had NDAs and all this stuff. That's the piece I want you to take more than anything else is like, stop asking, what do I need to do? Stop saying, how do I be more productive? Stop saying, what team do I need to hire to check these boxes? And just freaking say, who do I need to be? Who am I called to be to experience the life I'm called to live? Not to check this box, not to say that I'm this, not to have this title, not to have this money, but to live in full alignment with my big next based on what God's called me to. And once you start putting your energy and your focus and literally carving out moments of your day to ask yourself the right questions, to yield the right answers, you will forever feel stuck. You will forever feel like you're trying to forge your way through this, like bust through this invisible ceiling that you just feel like you're constantly being held back or held down or not experiencing the breakthroughs that you truly want. Really big news coming in a moment. On top of all of that, we were also rebranding the podcast, which is now Your Big Next. The book is in editing. And then one key thing, a giant differentiator that I'm super excited about, that I feel like I was being scaffolded through this season, that I didn't know why I was making these investments at the time, and now I know, is we went bigger than we've ever gone in investing in ourselves. I have had incredible mentors for over a decade. I credit them for so much. Seeing in me what I couldn't see in myself and then helping me develop that. But I really felt like I went through a season of playing a little bit small there, like being a little too big for my britches, thinking I knew better, thinking I had what I needed, that I could consolidate or streamline. I don't need a mentor. I don't need a mastermind. And then months and months ago, we got connected with the right people and we made the biggest investment that I have ever made in who I felt like I was being called to be, like a multi-six-figure investment in a mentor, in financial advisors, in people guiding us in our investments, like all. And because of that, I feel like I've doubled down on the speed of growth and what I get to bring to others. Like it was a big reason for the rebirth of this podcast and the deal that we closed and like all the things kind of happening in tandem was because I had people speaking life and truth into me. And I was saying to my mastermind members the other day, because we had our event, we had just closed our final event of this round. We're kicking off the next round soon. We're opening the doors for starting to invite new people into it who are ready for what I've been talking about this whole episode. And I said to them, there came this point where I was like, the way that I'm going to create the most value for every person who comes into this next round of the Visionary CEO Mastermind, where they experience the most incredible life transformation and business transformation they could ever imagine, while not just keeping their marriage and their family intact, while honoring the calling in all of those areas and increasing the prosperity in their lives and their businesses, is going to be by the overflow of me. Like I can't preach that to them, be like, oh, your business is going to grow because we unlock you and we scale you, and then not be doing that myself. So we made a multi-six-figure investment that like I was choking on at first, that now has already created so much growth for us. And all while for 3 straight months, I was throwing up every day, sick as a dog, so tired, probably the sickest I've been in any of my pregnancies. Yes, we are expecting another little one. I cannot even begin to tell you how grateful I am. At first, I was really scared. I was really scared because I was like, what if this happens again to our child? Like, I don't want to lose another little baby. And then it was the same thing. I had to, like, those are my plans. I want this baby more than anything, but I had to hold him with open hands and say, okay, God, I know I need to surrender this to you because you know better than anyone how to bless this so abundantly. And yeah, we're expecting another little one. I'm about halfway through this pregnancy. I've enjoyed not sharing it with the world. But now I'm excited to share it with all of you. I also cannot hide my baby bump anymore. So that was another motivator to finally give you this awesome life update. If I'm being totally honest, there was a piece of me for a long time that was like, what if I'm never blessed with the opportunity to like see those 2 lines on a pregnancy test again? Or, know that I'm pregnant, or puke my brains out because I'm pregnant, or to feel this little baby kick again, or feel a baby kick again, or get to hold a baby or feed a baby, nurse a baby again. And God has just been so good to us. And we are just over the moon. The kids are so excited. All of it was like, I was literally in the biggest negotiations of my life. I had to fly down to our latest business partner that we're doing this work with, and I hadn't told anybody yet, and I'm sitting in the conference room turning green, and I'm like, oh, I just have to go use the restroom real quick, like run to the restroom, throw up, run back, sit down, keep negotiating. Like all of it was happening in tandem. I'd be on Zoom calls where I'd be like, oh, my camera's acting up, shut my camera off in the middle of the biggest meeting of my life, shut the volume, throw up in a trash can, come back, keep going. And it's just been a wild ride. But we are quite resilient creatures. And, I think what this all has taught me is that what I really want, like at the end of the day, I just want to get my family to heaven. I want to cultivate that God-led calling that He places on my heart every day, and know that I'm living courageously into that at all costs. And I want to do the same for you. I want to cultivate that calling in every entrepreneur that I'm blessed to meet. I get to do that with my clients and my mastermind members. And that is such a privilege that I don't take lightly. And I want to do it alongside life. I want my family integrated into all of it. I want a simpler life. I want to just know that I'm creating and doing what I'm called to create. And this book is a big part of that. It's coming out this fall. I can't wait to share it with you. But yeah, no matter how chaotic life feels, clarity, alignment, freedom, faith, they're all possible. It's what this last year has taught me. And like, this is a fraction of it, guys. This is a fraction of it. I haven't even given you all the details, but like I said, if I told you what life looked like, you wouldn't believe me. But here's the truth. Every single step has brought us closer to where we're meant to be and who we're called to be, most importantly. And I know that same thing is true for you. You weren't meant to stay stuck. Busyness is not your calling. Sometimes the messiest of messy seasons of life are the ones that prep you and equip you for exactly who you are finally being called to be, and they are the most remarkable chapters of your life. And when God calls you into something, He also gives you that strength to handle everything that comes with it. So don't just build a business that looks good. Build one that serves and blesses your life, that doesn't operate as a burden to your life, that blesses it abundantly, every corner of it. And I hope you let me do that with you. One way that I can is if you DM me on Instagram, the word incubator, I can send you the details so that you can apply and see if it's the right fit, because we'll be sending out invitations to those who apply, and then our bank of people that have already shown interest, we've already started filling it for the next round. Or you can go to luminaryleadershipco.com/incubator and learn more. I know I missed many a thing. I know I did. That's my life update for you guys. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing this with people. Share it with someone who's in like the chaos right now, like the messy middle, putting pressure on themselves to think that like leadership looks perfect. Send them this episode. Be like, welcome to the frickin' circus. It's called life. Get over it. It's all happening the way it's intended. Here are some other people doing it too, in the trenches with you. It's down to earth people doing extraordinary things. That's what you guys are. And I'm so proud and grateful to be a part of the process. Until next time.